Welcome to Everything Casual, bringing you original football casual videos from the golden era of the 80s and 90s, right up to current day. Football away day stories and historic clashes between football firms. Subscribe so you don't miss out. We upload videos every week. Welcome back. How are we all doing? I have a bit of a different one for you today, just a quick video. It's about an apparently top face for the Rangers mob getting nicked and sent down, which is not unusual. However, not only was this lad a prominent member of Rangers, he was also heavily involved big-time drug gangs and crime lords in Glasgow, with links to crime lords in Ireland. The lad's name is Scott McSeveney. Not sure if anyone knows him from the football casual scene. Leave a comment. I know he got for playing up in Manchester when Rangers was there for the UEFA Cup final. Anyway, here's the full article. A Rangers thug and a haulage firm boss who plotted to smuggle £1.5 million of cannabis hidden inside watermelons have been jailed for a total of more than 13 years. Scott McSeveney, 37, helped recruit debt-ridden Stephen Lawson, 48, to ferry the huge drugs haul into the UK from Spain. But the trafficking plan was busted when Lawson was stopped by Border Force officers on his way back to Scotland at the Eurotunnel port in Coquelles, France. The pair were sentenced at the High Court in Glasgow today. McSeveney, of Shotts, Lanarkshire, had pleaded guilty last month to being concerned in the supply of cannabis. He was previously jailed for 3.5 years for an attack on a police officer during riots on the night of the Rangers and Zenit St Petersburg UEFA Cup final in Manchester in May 2008. McSeveney was today sentenced to 8 years and 2 months for the drugs plot. First offender Lawson of Motherwell, Lanarkshire, had been convicted of a charge of being involved in serious organised crime after trial. He was jailed for 5 years by Lord Colbeck. The judge said the pair had been part of a sophisticated scheme in an attempt to import drugs into the UK. Police had been probing a crime gang planning to smuggle narcotics using HGVs. It resulted in McSeveney being put under surveillance in April 2020. He was seen regularly at haulage firm MCL Transport in nearby Bellshill, run by Lawson. McSeveney used the encrypted EncroChat phone network with the call sign Frank.N.Furter to communicate with associate in Scotland, Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. Prosecutor Jennifer Cameron told the court. Discussions took place between McSeveney and other EncroChat users in relation to the means and methods needed to transport the drugs securely in an HGV. There was discussion about modifications to the vehicle to allow the secretion of imported drugs without detection. During exchanges, McSeveney spoke of the type of legitimate load needed to hide drugs in an HGV. The gang secured the help of a friendly Spanish-based fruit supplier and got fake paperwork in order to cross international borders. Lawson drove his lorry to the Spanish beach resort of Benicassim, where he collected the hash in 159 packages and loaded it among boxes of watermelons. In France, he provided Border Force with details of what appeared to be a legitimate fruit cargo, but the officers detected an anomaly with the load and uncovered the stash. The bogus delivery note stated the fruit was to bound for a company in London's Covent Garden, but the firm's owner said he had never heard of MCL Transport. Officers also found £2,320 in cash wrapped in cloths and an encrypted phone in Lawson's truck, and McSeveney had repeatedly tried to call him on the day he was stopped. McSeveney admitted being concerned in cannabis supply. Lawson went to trial and claimed he was unwittingly caught up in the crime. He said his lorry had been loaded by others and he believed his cargo was fruit. He also claimed he was not aware the phone in his cab was encrypted. The first offender was convicted of being involved in serious organised crime. Lord Colbeck remanded both men, who faced lengthy prison sentences when sentenced later this month. McSeveney was one of 12 Rangers hooligans sentenced in 2010 over scenes a judge described the worst destruction Manchester had witnessed since the Blitz. We told how the brute left PC John Goodwin with severe brain injuries after repeatedly stamping on his head on the night Rangers lost 2-0 to Zenit St. Petersburg. Around 150,000 Rangers fans travelled to the English city for the final, with the rioting caught on CCTV. McSeveney's fruit scheme comes after Scots hood JAMIE Iceman Stevenson was jailed for 20 years for smuggling £100 million worth of cocaine into the UK from Ecuador in bananas. If you are a bit of a dresser and you love designer clothes, especially some of the brands worn on the terraces, but don't want to pay silly prices, but don't want to wear moody fake clothes either, then check out my shop on Vinted. Just go on Vinted and type in everything casual and my garms should pop up. The clothes are pre-loved, all in great condition and all authentic. I recently sold an Aquascutum jumper for £8 and a Vivienne Westwood shirt for a tenner. Everything is that sort of price, so get on Vinted and check out our new shop, or click the link in the description. However, Scott McSeveney isn't the only member of the Rangers Union Bears that's involved in the Glasgow crime underworld. Another top face from the Rangers terraces has been a naughty boy too. I am talking about Lloyd Cross. This is his story. Gangster Lloyd Cross went from football hooligan to international cocaine smuggler alongside one of Scotland's biggest criminal kingpins, the record can reveal. The rabble-rouser styled himself as a top boy among Rangers fan group Union Bears, and he was involved in clashes with police in Slovenia in 2018. But he was sidelined from the Ultra group after his gangland connections became common knowledge, and his focus turned towards the international drugs racket. A major drug bust revealed Cross, 32, to be the right-hand man of JAMIE Iceman Stevenson, who masterminded the smuggling £1 million worth of cocaine from South America in 2020. Cross had also fallen foul of Rangers fans after he was blamed for the leaking of the wording of a banner in 2017 to the rival Green Brigade, which allowed the Celtic ultras to mock their opponents. One source told the record, Cross saw himself as a top boy in the Rangers' support, always at the front of the crowd at away games and always on the lookout for bother. He was the kind who'd revel in a riot. He also had a high profile on Twitter and was known for noising up Celtic fans. But all that stopped, presumably when he stepped into the big time in drug smuggling. He disappeared from Twitter and most traces of him disappeared from social media. It is obvious someone had a word with him about his profile. Cross was a blingy, flashy guy with a big mouth, and half of Glasgow knew he was connected to JAMIE Stevenson because he's known him most of his life. He drew attention, including that of the police, as there would have been an extensive intelligence file on him. It wasn't good from either the mob side or the ultra fan side that he had a public profile, as both are very aware of surveillance. But even when he appeared at the High Court in Glasgow, he drove a Porsche, which sums him up. He's a guy who liked to be seen to be wealthy and splashing cash. In August 2018, photos and video showed conflict between police and Rangers fans in Maribor, Slovenia, ahead of a Europa League match, with Cross in attendance. Footage showed baton-wielding officers charging into crowds of fans, with some backing off and others taking an apparently hostile stance. Rangers ultras showed support for a hooligan cocaine dealer during a controversial pyro display at their Europa League game. The Union Bears unfurled a banner that read "No Surrender LC" and Rangers Riot Crew while setting off fireworks over the head of their own keeper, Jack Butland. LC is believed to stand for Lloyd Cross, 32, a well-known member of the group, who was jailed for 6 years for his part in a £100 million plot to import cocaine hidden in banana boxes. The Rangers' crazy lad was caged along with crime kingpin JAMIE Iceman Stevenson at the High Court in Glasgow last week. A source said, Cross is a Union Bear, Rangers daft and still has a lot of friends in the group. But flaunting your support for a drug-dealing thug while aiming fireworks over your own goalie's head shows just how brainless this mob are. This misplaced loyalty to a crook will just add to the calls for the UB to be kicked out of Ibrox. The controversial banner was revealed amid a bonkers flares display during the Rangers-Lyon game on Thursday that saw the game halted and could see part of Ibrox shut by UEFA for the stunt. Strangely, Cross is hated by some in the Union Bears for apparently leaking a tifo design to Celtic rivals the Green Brigade. He was captured on camera during a clash with cops while travelling to watch his beloved Rangers in Slovenia. The images show Cross, who has a previous conviction for aggravated assault, in the thick of a disturbance in Maribor in the year 2018. A source said, Cross may have been a Union Bear, but he became loathed by many Rangers fans after the tifo incident. Here's another incident that Cross has been involved in, which caused outrage, by the way. A Rangers fan is accused of trying to set alight the flag of a Welsh team to allegedly provoke opposition fans. Andrew Watt, 30, is said to have conducted himself in a disorderly manner at Ibrox Stadium on November 16th, 2019. The Rangers Colts team were hosting Wrexham in the Tunnocks Caramel Wafer Challenge Cup at the time. Prosecutors claim Watt was in possession of an opposition flag. It is stated he made attempts to ignite the flag and wave it in a provocative manner at the Wrexham fans. Watt is then alleged to have resisted, obstructed or hindered a police officer after being arrested and taken into custody. The charge claims Watt broke free from PC John Doherty's grasp, struggled with him and made off.